Hello and namaskar traders. I'm back after 1 week. I was at Uttarakhand. I enjoyed my small trip there. I did manage to share last Monday's view, but after that I was off the grid completely, which was okay at times. But I'm back today, and today we are on the 6th of June 2022. It's a Monday evening, 23 minutes past 5 p.m. We're looking at the Nifty chart, and we can see very clearly that the index is stuck within a range of 6 days. Bank Nifty did manage to see a bit of intraday volatility, but it stayed within a very narrow range. And there are two pharmaceutical stocks which I would like to discuss with you in this video. So we are looking at the daily chart of the Nifty near month futures, and what I can make out of the chart is, number one, the index is stuck within this 6-day range. The 6-day range comes after the recent bounce back. The bounce back so far is encouraging. It has led to a short-term reversal of the underlying short-term trend. Now, one thing that worries me a little bit is last Friday's price action. It opened really well. It was a very encouraging opening last Friday, but it slipped. The close on Friday's trade was very disappointing. You will get to see this kind of a movement from the large cap IT stocks. If you take a look at TCS, Infosys, HCL Tech, Friday's price action will show this kind of a movement. Nevertheless, after the recent bounce back, the lows that the index had made, which is close to that 16,450, the index is holding above that level. So far so good. So we can expect that the index will show us some more strength going forward. Today was a day of a bounce back. It stayed weak, but towards the end it bounced back really well, and we can expect that the index can break out above 16,800 only if it manages to scale above that 16,680, 16,700. We will get a better clarity of this if we take a look at the smaller time frames, the 75-minute time frame over here. Now, the 75-minute time frame of the Nifty clearly reflects this support. You remember this zone that I had drawn last week? It had the point of control, and very nice to see that the index is respecting this range, and it is providing support. 16,420, 16,450 kind of range is acting really well. And this is a classic technical analysis concept wherein the previous highs, which were resistances, and when they change their roles and start to act as supports, this is a good sign. All that it needs is a little bit of buying push, and yes, we can see a move above 16,750. So as long as 16,420 for, let's say, 400 holds, strategically we should maintain a bullish bias. We should look to trade more on the long side. That's Nifty. Now the Bank Nifty, on the other hand, was fairly volatile. Now let's start with the daily charts. Now Bank Nifty 2 in Friday's session had given us this huge ranged bar. It was an outside bar, and today what it managed to do was find some support from the previous gap up and manage a little bit of bounce back. If you take a look at the daily range, then the Bank Nifty's range for the day was around 715 points, and on an average, 386 points, and on an average 715 points is the last 20 days average range. What this means is this particular range with which the index has traded today is 50% less of the average range that the index has traded over the last 20 days. So what this means is range contraction, and what this implies is we should be looking for some kind of a directional movement from a short-term point of view. Which way can we expect it? Now the same story applies here in Bank Nifty. If you recall, it was the Bank Nifty which gave the move before. And we discussed that once the Bank Nifty starts to slow down, participation should come in from other pockets. like large cap IT, like stock like Reliance Industries. And beautifully, the index managed to deliver that. We saw movement coming in from Reliance Industries. We did see movement coming in from large cap IT. So the index wants to hold on to this short-term trend reversal. It does not want to slip back to a downtrend across all time frames. We should give the market a little bit of time. And for the bank Nifty, the levels, I think today's low plays a very important role. I say so because very clearly we saw last week the index bouncing back from this level. And if I extend it a little bit towards the right, I can see that the index managed to stay above this level for most of today's trade. It did slip below, but then managed to bounce back. But it was fairly volatile. I personally got whipsawed in the 15 minutes time frame, wherein the market was fairly volatile, and two particular bars, the second last bar in the 15-minute time frame, and I think the very first bar in the opening. These two bars, pretty wide ranged for a 15-minute time frame. Essentially, the last one created a lot of whipsaw. It was not a great day for intraday trades for the bank Nifty, but nevertheless, clear indication of a breakout we can see up here above that 35,500 mark. Every time it went above that 35,500 intraday today, and I noticed that a clear sign of resistance was coming in. Today's high on the near-month future is 35,527, but it could not sustain above that 35,500 for even more than 5 minutes. So we need to see the index take out 35,500 and sustain above that. Any slip below today's low, which is 35,141, so you can consider 35,100. I think we will head further down, and that will not be a good news, because for a short-term bounce back in this kind of a level, this much of a correction is pretty good. Anything more than this becomes, little painful for the short-term bounce back to sustain itself. Strategically, we are still maintaining, from a short-term point of view, a bullish bias for the Nifty and Bank Nifty, and we will look to trade more on the long side of the market rather than the short side. Let's see how it plays out. Now, two pharmaceutical stocks which I wanted to discuss with you. One is SunPharma. Now, SunPharma is at a very important juncture, according to me. Now, what we can see, number one, if this is the daily chart of the SunPharma in the spot market, and what we can see is the stock had given us a pretty nice uptrending behavior, good flow, highs, correction, new highs, correction, further highs and correction. But over the last couple of months, we can see that the index has created a sequence of lowering highs and kind of strong supports little close to that 830 mark. If I go by my moving averages, which I have on my screen, I can see that the moving averages have turned down, and the order of the moving averages is also suggesting weakness. This is the short-term bounce back after this correction. So now is a very, very crucial time for the stock. I can say make or break. And so whether the stock will move down further for a test of this low or not will clearly get understood if it loses today's low tomorrow. So keep a close look at SunPharma, and if you find SunPharma sub the levels of 858, and if it falls below, let's say 854, 850, then the possibility of 830 and further follow through weakness is quite likely. On the flip side, if it goes above today's high and yesterday's high, and these levels are around 875, so 875, 880, then I think we are saved. Let's take a look at the volume profile of this particular fall of SunPharma in this particular fall. Then we can see that max volumes, majority of the volumes have taken place close to that 860 mark. That's exactly where we are. So it's a very crucial juncture. This is a sign that the stock has seen relatively more volumes at lower levels, which gives us that comfort that it's not likely to fall more. But from the price point of view, this was from the volumes point of view. From the price point of view, the sequence of the price has got the stock at such a level wherein from a short-term point of view, it's definitely make or break. The other pharmaceutical stock is AuroPharma, and this is not from a short-term point of view. This is from the point of view of classical technical analysis and price patterns. What caught my attention in this particular chart, not only the strong downtrend and weakness in the particular counter, but clear signs of a pattern like a falling wedge in a falling market. If you take a look at the volumes, you would clearly see volumes picking up decent. This is the 5-day average volumes, and you can see the 5-day average volumes picking up really well. Last time the 5-day average volumes was at this level was when the stock created a top twice. So the big question mark is it going to create a bottom this time with this kind of volumes? The possibility is there. I'm not saying that go out and buy the stock at 522, but it seems like at this juncture, at this price, looking at the price volume behavior, the probability of further downsides is relatively less than the chance of an upside. It's very clear that it's a weak stock. It's in terms of price, in terms of a trend, it's a weak counter. So this is not the level to short. Maybe you can use a short-term bounce back to go for it. And I don't know the fundamentals, but the weakness of the counter is very, very evident. Only a breakout above 547, 548 will give you a sense that yes, this might give me a meteor bounce back. Not a short-term bounce back, but maybe a little more than just a short-term bounce back. And in that case, we can expect, the stock to try its best to scale close to that 600 level. Maybe not. The problem with this kind of chart patterns, what happens is the underlying trends are so weak that any attempt to break out faces stiff resistances. Nevertheless, we'll take a close look at both of them and see how SunPharma and AuroPharma plays out. One, a relatively stronger counter, which is at a make or break juncture, and the other one completely beaten down, weak, but the price volume is suggesting maybe there is some merit going forward over the next maybe 1 or 2 months. Let's see how it plays out. I'm sorry I could not share my views last week, as I said that I was traveling. I had a good time, refreshed myself well, and back to the markets again. I hope you traded well and you did not got whipsawed as bad as the price suggested when I took a look at the charts. Let's see what in store for us, for both of us. Till then, take care of yourselves, trade well and trade wise.